Hello, good day or good evening everyone. My name is Teacher Anton. Welcome to our first session at GE7 STS. Our topic is Science, Technology, and the World. Before we will proceed, let me present to you first our objective for today's lesson. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to understand the concept of science, technology, and society and how they are being interconnected with each other. Next one, understand how science and technology has changed over the past centuries. Describe the role of different society in the development across ages. Enumerate the several technological advancements from ancient age up to date. Discuss how scientific and technological development affects us as well as the environment. And lastly, explain the importance of social media sites to modern day living. Okay? So if you are now ready, kindly get now your module in order for you to be guided along with our discussions. Okay, so let's start. So we will understand first the concept of science, technology, and society. First, what is science? So, science tries to discover facts, evidences to create theories based on scientific knowledge. Therefore, science is a knowledge or a system of knowledge covering general truths through scientific method. So, si science pala class is nakukuha siya through experimentation and in the form of scientific method. And it's a challenge for us human because of our curiosity, we attempt to understand the natural world and its phenomena. Science designs a product, processes, as well as medical treatment. It predicts the impact of human actions, and with that, develop a technology. So technology, on the other hand, it is the practical application of scientific knowledge, in particular to a specific field of science. So with technology, products and processes are generated by researchers to meet our needs and wants. So what are the several technologies that addresses our human needs and wants? So we have the information technology in the form of TV, satellites, GPS, and internet. Communication technology in the form of magazines and TVs. Bio-related and agricultural technology in the form of biosensors and genetic engineering. Medical technology in the form of lasers, ultrasound, and etc. And of course, we also have environmental technology, transportation technology, production technology, energy and power technology, and lastly, nanotechnology. So those are the several technology that addresses human needs and wants. Therefore, technology is an application of science in order for us to satisfy the needs and wants. Okay? So in comparison, science is the study of natural world itself. It deals with the different processes of how a human body operates, the facts about photosynthesis, the different stars above the planets, and it deals with what is. While technology is the study of human-made world, and it deals with what can be. So it is also really reciprocal in a sense that science addresses questions that demands more sophisticated instruments, which is technology. And technology provides instruments that enable the observation of objects. For example, through the creation of anemometer. So through the creation of that technology, we can now understand the wind direction or the wind movement, which is technology related to science. So that is the relationships between the two. And then, how does science and technology affects society? So science influences society through its knowledge and worldview. For example, certain kind of science such as nutrition. So because of nutrition, we humans are affected by what we should do or what we should eat in order for us to be healthy, right? So it really affects the society and also the environment. And then while technology, it influences society through its product and processes. Okay? And of course, we need also to understand what is society. So society, it is a cooperating social group whose members have organized pattern of relationships through interactions with one another. So example, society of poli-sci students, society of people living in remote places, society of people living in an urban area, so that's it. Or even society living in the Philippines that have common traditions, common institutions, and even interest, like that. Okay? So to start it out, Science, technology, and society are strongly interrelated. Like science affects technology and the both affects the society. Likewise, society also affects how and what science is doing and what technologies are being developed. Okay, so question. What is the interrelationship of science, technology, and society? Comment down below. Okay, so now let's proceed to the advancement of how does science and technology changed over the past centuries. We will have first the ancient age or the three-age system. Okay, so the three-age system was introduced in the 19th century by Christian Jorgensen Thompson, an archaeologist and a curator of the National Museum of Denmark in Copenhagen. So the system was originally formulated to classify artifacts in the position of museum, but this gave birth to three chronological successive prehistorical periods, namely the Stone Age, Bronze Age, and Iron Age, whose dating is very approximate. So we will understand these three specifically. Let's have first the Stone Age. As defined by Thompson, it is a period of weapons made of stone, wood, bone, or some other materials aside from metals. The Stone Age was further subdivided by John Lubbock into Paleolithic and Neolithic periods, and later, there was another period named Mesolithic that was introduced by John Allen Brown in 1892. So these Stone Age periods class are based mainly on the technological advancement and not on actual date ranges. Thus, their lengths varied in different parts of the world. Okay, so let's understand now the Paleolithic. The Paleolithic came from the Greek word paleos, which means old, and lithos, which means stone. So that is why the Paleolithic period is also known as the Old Stone period. So the Paleolithic period is known to be the longest phase of human history, which began approximately 2 million years ago and ended between 40 to 10,000 years ago. So it was during this period class when humans suggested to evolve from an ape-like creature to a true Homo sapiens. They were hunter-gatherers who used to build wild animals and harvest wild animals for survival. So these were achieved by using stones, flints, bones, and even antlers. Commonly, the people in the Paleolithic period are nomadic, meaning to say, they are migrating between temporary settlements. And their tools made of stones, flints, and bones are being sharpened in order for them to gather easily wild animals. And this period of early human development was further given into three successive divisions, namely the Lower, Middle, Upper Paleolithic period, with each representing a distinguishable cultural features. In the Lower Paleolithic period, so you may read the content. So, in this period, it marked the age of human evolution development of simple tools, like stone choppers made by those people called Australopithecus. And those old stone tools are made by the Homo erectus. So, Homo erectus from its word erect. So, these are the people who can now stand by their own. Okay? Alright. So, these are the evolution of man. During the Lower Paleolithic period, we have the Australopithecus, Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Java man, Peking man, and Homo ergaster. So that was the evolution of man during the Lower Paleolithic period. Okay, and in the Middle Paleolithic period, there is a cultural development involving another early human ancestor, the Neanderthal man, who existed 40,000 to 1,000 years ago. So this Neanderthal man are cavemen known to use fire, stone tools of flint types for hunting, and bone implements such as needles for sewing body coverings made of animal fur and skin. So sa panahong ito class, meron ng pagkontrol ang mga hominidad sa kanilang kapaligiran. Nagsimula na ring mag-express ang mga tao sa artesiktong abilidad. Gumuhit sila sa mga bato at nagpipintas sila sa kanilang katawan. Okay? And then, in the Upper Paleolithic period, there is a variety of culture of Homo sapiens, the Cro-Magnon man and the Brune man, which dominated in this period. So, this period was known for communal hunting, extensive fishing, supernatural beliefs, cloth sewing, sculpture, painting, and making personal ornaments out of bones and ivories. Okay? So, sa panahong ito, class, ito yung pagbubuo ng kultura ng mga tao. At dito rin nagbago ang kanilang mga gawi, asal at pamumuhay. Lumitaw din ang pagiging arkitekto ng mga tao at gayon din ang mga komplikadong pagpapangkat sa kanilang lipunan. Mas maraming uri ng pagkain at espesyal na uri ng kagamitan. Okay? So, those are the period under the Paleolithic period. Again, we have the lower, the middle, and the upper Paleolithic period. Next one is the Mesolithic or the Middle Stone period. It is termed Mesolithic because this is according between the end of Paleolithic and the beginning of Neolithic. So that's why. The Mesolithic period involves the gradual change in the way humans live that could be attributed to the retreat of glaciers and the group of forests and deserts in different parts of the world. So in this, people began fishing along rivers and lake shores, make pottery, and use bow. There is also a gradual transition from food gathering to agriculture or food processing. Okay? Further, they also used stones known as microliths. These microliths were comparably smaller and more delicate than those with polyliths. So ito yung mga maliliit at patusok na mga kansakapang batong nagsisilbing kutsilyo at talim ng mga sibat at pana. Okay? Next one is the Neolithic or the New Stone period. This stone age of cultural development was based primarily on agriculture. It is characterized by wide domestication of plants and animals, use of stone tools, pottery, and weaving in numerous settled villages. Okay? Agriculture continued to expand across most of the inhabitants regions of the world, giving rise to a variety of urban civilizations. So those are the basic or the three major period in the Stone Age. So again, we have the Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and the Neolithic period. Okay? So next one is the Bronze Age. Bronze Age was started when tools and weapons were already widely made with copper and bronze. This was achieved through metal extraction from ore, which is the process known as smelting. And after melting, they pour it to mold for shape. So nagkaroon na sila ng concept ng smelting and shaping it to a specific shape they desire. Okay? And smelting was originally done with copper, which is a soft metal. However, it was discovered by the Sumerian of Mesopotamia that a harder instrument one could be made by blending copper and tin. Okay? So mas matigas daw yung bagay kapag pagsamahin nila ang copper at tin. Okay? So the technological knowledge of this slowly moved from place to place. It began from Southeast Asia and migrated to the different parts of the world. So that is the Bronze Age. So nag-start na dito yung process na smelting. And last in the three-age system is the Iron Age. The Iron Age, is the name implies, included those articles made of iron. This began when smelting pits made advancement to produce higher temperature that could smelt the iron ore. Same with bronze technology, Iron Age also diffused different regions slowly to North America and then sub-Saharan Africa, when the fusion of bronze technology was halted by Sahara Desert. So those are the prehistoric under the three-age system. So basically, it refers to what kind of material or what kind of tools they made. Right? Okay. Next one in the advancement of technology is the Middle Ages. This period of history began 450 after death and lasted until 1450 after death. It is subdivided into smaller ages, which is the Dark and the High Middle Ages. Okay? It started during the collapse of Western Roman Empire and the rise of Renaissance and Age of Discovery. So the first one is the Dark Ages. In the Dark Ages, there is no scientific accomplishment had been made. And between 1347 and 1350, there was a bubonic plague called Black Death that killed some 20 million people in Europe. So this was the very dark ages of the Euro people in the Middle Ages. Next is the High Middle Ages, from 1000 after death to 1450 after death, wherein the most powerful institution here is the Catholic Church. And then, Islamic world was also growing larger and more powerful, which was more than 3 times bigger than all of Christendom. So it focuses on Europe, but let us also understand the Middle Ages in several places like China and India. In China, agriculture and economy was based solely on farming, which began in Huanghu and Yangtze River. There is also a large silk production started, and bronze production become more sophisticated. In science, they have this kind of concept like concave and convex mirrors, calendars, and decimal places. And in medical biology, they started to begin acupuncture as an effective cure to most body illnesses. Okay? In terms of Chinese technology, the following were some of the major technological advancement. We have the paper, seismograph, mechanical clock, gunpowder, printing press, magnetic compass, and etc. So those were the technological advancement of Chinese people in the Middle Age period. In Europe, feudal system was fully developed and had defined its economic history dependent on local agricultural and handicraft production, and was characterized by having the following hierarchical ranks in the society. We have the peasant, lord, lay or clerical, overlords, king and bishops, and pope and emperor. And in Europe, the church provided the intellectual and administrative expression of the feudal system. So the central of excellence and the central of intellect is the church. Therefore, pag ikaw ay nagkaroon ng opposition sa mga gustong ituro ng church, you may be excommunicated. Okay? And in education, we have cathedral school which then became universities. These were established to address societal need for intellectual advancement. And some of the universities arose in the following European eras. This is the Paris University, next one is the Oxford University, and the Cambridge University, and many more other universities. While in their technology, the major invention and discoveries in the Europe are the horse collars, clock watch, which were developed from Chinese clock, magnetic compass, watermill and windmill, gunpowder, cannon, and etc., which mostly of these are developed because of the influence of Chinese people. And in India, their major technology is that their year was divided into 12 months with total of 360 days. And also, they gather information of disease and drugs. And also, they practice mathematical equation, linear equations, and the use of zero and decimal places were practiced. Okay? So those are the major events happening in the Middle Ages, divided into Dark Ages and High Middle Ages. Next one is the PreColumbian America. The PreColumbian America was thrived in 3 groups of people called Mayan, the ancient natives of Central America, the Aztec, the PreColumbian Indians of Mexico, and the Incas, the PreColumbian of Peru. Let's proceed with the Mayan. Their technological advancement in terms of infrastructure was the pyramid made of limestone that were built by Mayans, and their houses was made of poles and leaves of palms. And then, in their economy, they use cocoa beans as monetary units. Kumbaga, makakabili ka lang ng isang manok if you have 100 cocoa beans. Okay? And their astronomy, they uses to develop solar calendar, which consists of 365 days in a year. Okay? So that's in the Mayan era. In the Aztec or the pre-Columbian Indians of Mexico, their infrastructure is that their high temples were built for their gods and goddesses. And then, decimal notation were used, in which 0 was similarly represented by an oval shape, and other numbers as dots and dashes. So as you can see in the picture on screen, like that. And they also developed solar calendar, which was developed by Aztec, which consists 365 days with a total of 18 months. Ganon. And the third, in Incas. As you can see in the picture, their farming was practiced in terrace field with canals for irrigation. And also, chili and avocado were widely cultivated. So those are the technological advancement in the pre-Columbian period. Now, let's proceed with the scientific revolution. This refers to great scientific intellectual achievement that leads to radical change in scientific queries. Some of the important contribution to the scientific revolution was the following. First, the universe model by Nicholas Copernicus that described the sun is the center of the universe. Second, the law of planetary motion by Johannes Kepler that all planets revolve around the sun is elliptical and not circular or orbits. Third, the work of motion by Galileo Galilei. Fourth, the law of motion by Isaac Newton, which consists the law of inertia, law of acceleration, and law of interaction. And last is the law of universal gravitation to Isaac Newton. States that the particle in the universe attracts every other universe particles using of course its direction. That is directly proportional to the product of their masses. Okay? So those are the major contribution or the scientific knowledge in the scientific revolution which lead to the radical change in the society. Okay? Alam nyo ba class na yung kay Nicholas Copernicus, the heliocentric model or the sun is the center of the universe, it was opposed from the church. Kasi ang turo ng church dati is geocentric model or the earth is the center of the universe. So maaaring itong si Nicholas Copernicus ay na-excommunicate dahil sa pag-upos sa turo ng church. Which is ngayon napatunayan talaga na heliocentric naman talaga or the sun is the center of the universe, right? So may mga changes talaga na nangyayari sa society over time, right? Okay. And next one after the scientific revolution is the industrial revolution, which generally covers the complex technological innovation that leads to the substitute of machines and inanimate power of human skills and animal forces. Some of the example of technological advancement include textile, transportation, lighting, coal, iron, and steel, communication, and agriculture. So these are the following invention under the textile. We have fly shuttle, a spinning machine increasing the weaving speed, water frame for textile production, power loom, and cotton gin which separate cotton from seeds. Okay? In terms of coal, iron, and steel, meron silang ginagamit na coke. Hindi itong iniinom natin but ito yung ginagamit nila for iron smelting. So we have blast furnace to keep iron from smelting, puddling furnace, and open heart process for iron and steel. Okay? And then in terms of transportation in the Industrial Revolution, they have the mile-long canals, steamboat, macadam roads, puffing belly, steam locomotive, as well as steamships. So as you can observe, our society was really affected because of the Industrial Revolution in terms of environment. Like because of the smoke, which really affects the ozone layer of the earth. So that is why ngayon, sobrang init na natin. Now, in terms of communication, inventions like electric telegraph, telephone, and radio was invented. In lighting, gas lighting, Bunsen burner, and electric light. In agriculture, seed drill, marling practice, and stock breeding. So that's it. Next one is the 18th to 19th century. During this era, the connection between science and technology was very minimal. This gradually shifted to developmental stage during the 19th century when science, technology, and industry united at the common grounds and cause. The 19th century marked a crucial turning point in science-technology relationship. These are the similar scientific advances during this period, which was also found in your module. So, nandyan ito sa module nyo class. Included dun sa module, the different scientists and their discoveries and or contribution. So, nandun si Alexandro Volta, which contributed in invention of cell and battery. In chemistry, Benjamin Franklin distinguished positive and negative charge in an atom. In biology, Robert Hooke discovered the cell. And also Charles Darwin in his theory of evolution. Okay? And next in the advancement of technology is the 20th century up to date. During the 20th century, science and technology has structurally and methodologically changed. A number of scientific theories were introduced and had influenced technological works in the century. You may also refer in your module the significant advances in the scientific knowledge during the 20th century. Okay? Example, Albert Einstein in his theory of relativity. In the field of biology, James Watson and Francis Crick discovered the structure of the DNA. And then Edwin Hubble, the idea of representation of the universe. And then George Lemaitre proposes the Big Bang theory. Okay? Next one is the information stage. This is the last period in the human history. This is typically described by the change from traditional industry to an economy based on information computerization, which is also known as digital age or new media age. It's occupied with the birth of personal computers. It's also the era with easy access and easy piece of information. Before the rise of computers, information was being spread using printout materials. And then, Johannes Gutenberg published or introduced the movable type printing press in Europe. And this established known as the Gutenberg era, which is responsible for shaping the nature of society and its underlying institution. But before that, there is a pre-Gutenberg world. Before the printing press, books were written and produced by hand. They were made in surfaces of clay, wax papyrus, and parchments. Books were restricted only to the people who can afford, known as the elite groups. And information was only relayed through a word-of-mouth channels. And then, in the Gutenberg Revolution, it begins with the introduction of printing press, known the movable printing press by Johannes Gutenberg. The Gutenberg principle insisted that in such a way, information should be passed to every individual. But the access was very expensive. And then, books were printed including religious books on the medieval period, okay? And in the post-Gutenberg world, this era can be described as the emergence of the internet and World Wide Web. So, ito na yung panahon or ito na yung age kung saan tayo ay nabubuhay na. So, this paved the way to the possible uploading and downloading of all forms of media instrument such as videos, images, and articles that enable the people to publish or spread information. Okay? And this started to the rise of digital age. With the advent of modern technology, printing press are not only tools used in spreading information. There are already computers, cell phone, computer printers, digital cameras that are readily available to pass information from one individual to another, or from here to everywhere. And then, of course, there are several social media sites that was also introduced with us na very useful sa atin ngayon, especially na this time of pandemic. And of course, in our new set or new mode of learning na online learning, di ba? So, we have Facebook, YouTube, Google, Instagram, and Twitter. Right? The social media platforms mentioned above are the one that is commonly used, but there are still platforms in the social media. So, marami pa dun, guys. So, from Gutenberg to information age, the evolution of technology has made us realize that that modernization of information and communication process had become the power behind social evolution. Okay? So, in the advancement of technology that we have now, always remember to use it in a practical and in a positive way. Okay? So, that's it. We're done with chapter 1. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned something from our discussion today. This video would not be possible without Sir Jonas Bartolome. So, sir, if you are listening right now, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Okay, so go back to your Google Classroom now. Bye-bye and God bless everyone.